Now, if you want, Bren, we can totally go listen to your album here. And if you want to hop on the Discord chat, we can totally talk about it together while we watch it. Otherwise, I will just start playing music. And, well, you did say you're having internet problems, so maybe you don't want to do that. Okay, Hotline Miami is closed. Let me open up Winamp. Oh, I got to change this. Let's see, what was the name of the album? Into the Depths of Hell.
Hi.
Howdy. How's it going?
Pretty good, and you?
I am doing fine. Just updating the stream info real quick. And, alright.
Do you want me to send you the link?
Oh, I've already got it downloaded, man.
No.
Alright, let me get the visualization going. Let's see. Hello, you're supposed to be showing this. Why aren't you doing that? I hate it when this happens, when something works and then it doesn't work. I just tested this morning and it worked, and now it's not showing up in OBS at frickin' all.
As a programmer, I noticed. Also, sorry for my bad English.
Your English is fine. It's better than some native English speakers that I know. Alright, I'm trying to get this to show up, and it's just not working.
All I see is that snowy picture.
Oh, hey, there we go. Now it's showing up. I don't know what changed, but something did. So let me hit play. Alright, so there's the first track, Beyond Death. I should probably turn the volume of the music up a little on the stream.
I can't listen to it because if I turn on the sound on Twitch, I got your voice twice.
Yeah.
So
you know what your music sounds like, though, so we should be able to discuss it.
Yeah. Do you have the bonus song?
Yes. I downloaded the zip file that had all the songs in it, and I saw that was in there.
Okay. Good.
Is the music loud enough, Pudding? Let's see if he gives us an answer.
Is my voice on the sorry? Is my voice on the stream?
It should be. I guess I can check that real quick. Oh, I can hear myself. Yeah, you should be showing up.
Cool.
So, the first track, Beyond Death, and let's pause before we go on, is totally just like an intro. I mean, there's nothing else really to say about it. It's just, you're like setting the mood and the tone, and it's kind of like this dark and brooding thing building up to something, and then we get to God, I'm going to butcher all these names because they're Greek and I'm terrible at that. And then we get to Acheron, which I'm getting ready to hit play on. and that's where like the album really starts. You know, that's how I
Yeah.
feel. And as an intro, Beyond Death is fine. There's like I guess the only thing I would like say as a comment, and it's kind of a general comment that all the tracks have going on, is you need a better sound font to work in because it sounds synthetic without sounding cool like actual synthesizers, you know?
Yeah. But they are expensive.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Really.
I've used to do music. I know how expensive this kind of stuff is. Uh, yeah, I think that's just kind of my general comment of I don't like the sound fonts you're working in. It sounds fake, I think is the best way to put it, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
All right, well, I'm going to hit play on Acheron, and we are going to just rock out. Oh, that's a tribute visualization.
My album is very rainbowy.
Oh, what was that?
No, it's fun because my album is hell, dark stuff, and then there's rainbows and colorful stuff.
That's interesting. The first half of that, I was listening real close to it, and I got like a, how do I want to phrase it? Like a sense of motion from it, like we were traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last minute or so, that kind of went away, and it was just kind of like trying to figure out the right descriptor to use. I want to say like a feeling of like some kind of dread presence or something, but I don't think that's actually what I want to describe it as. Like, but that's what I felt, was like we're somewhere and it's not a happy place.
Yeah.
And that's kind of interesting. I didn't notice that the first time I listened to this 2 or 3 months ago, whenever it went up on your YouTube channel. Then I was just kind of listening to it while I was working on other stuff, and I got this feeling like, this would actually make like a pretty good soundtrack for an RPG or something. That was like my thought for the whole album. But listening to it more closely now, that's an interesting progression. Like, is that what you were like? Was that intentional, or am I just reading more into it than I should?
Well, I I tried to make the whole album looks like a travel into the depths of hell, but the main things are rivers, because in Greek mythology, I think there are 5 rivers in hell, and it's kinda around that. I've tried to make different, not emotions, but to make each part different. Like, well, I'm really confused about what I did. Do you know what Dante's Inferno?
I've read parts of Dante's Inferno back when I was an undergrad, yeah.
Okay, so it's something like that. There are circles and stuff like this. So each song is a place or something in hell, and I just try to describe them musically. So I don't think I've answered your question, but
well, I think you did answer the question.
Oh, cool.
Because what I was saying was kind of like thematically, were you trying to provoke a... I guess I phrased my question badly. I guess how I should have phrased it was, if you were trying to provoke like a theme for the place we were at, and a sense of us going to the place and then being there. And that's exactly what you just described, is yes, you were doing that. You just used different words than me, but we were saying the same thing. Cool deal.
Yeah. I got... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm going to go hit play on War, but if you got something else to say, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
All right, I'll hit it. Okay. So I actually took a bunch of notes while I was listening to that. Uh, so, and you used it again. There's like at the beginning, there's that uh, high guitar that's playing kind of fast, and it actually sounds really nervous. And when we come back from the slow segment, where you're just like hitting those big heavy notes, and there was all the clipping and stuff, which I don't think is because of Winamp. I looked at the EQ, and I don't have any weird settings. It's I have my EQ is set up to be flat like a studio monitor, so I'm not sure if that's in the recording or if it's just the music or well, I'm not sure if it's in your recording or if it's in the way I'm playing this back or whatever. So that's. But when we come back from that segment of the big bomb stuff, and you repeat that same kind of nervous fretting with the guitar that you did at the very beginning, that was a nice touch because it brought the theme back. I felt, like I said, nervous. Like when it first started, it's like it feels like pre-battle jitters. You know, like you're scared. Uh, And then I think it was like a minute into it or something, you start with that real steady drum beat, uh, which felt kind of like marching or something to me. That was what went through my head. Then things slow down, and then everything just comes back, and it just keeps building and building. And then I forget when it started. I really paid attention to it at about the 5 minute mark. You had your lead guitar was just going crazy, and it was hitting some interesting notes. Uh, there were some pretty dissonant sounding things, at least to my ear, in there. And I'm starting to get into stuff I can't really talk about because I was never trained in music theory. But you're definitely like hitting some notes that, you know, are dissonant with the note that came before. Like there's some interesting chord progression stuff going on there, and it definitely felt. Trying to find the right word. I guess I'm gonna have to go with like it felt that part like unpleasant. Like you could tell uh, this is violent. There's the drums just going, the rhythm guitar. I'm calling it the rhythm guitar. The other guitar part is just kind of like beating away, and you're hitting these notes, and it's like whoa, there's something going on. You know, it's like this is rough. Pudding. I wasn't trained in music theory either.
Well, there are some dissonance, especially in the breakdown. I think it's kind of in the middle of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the solo at the end of the song, I mainly tried, well, to describe war. And at the beginning, it's like that first theme. It's like people who go to war, like, hey, we're gonna battle, all that stuff. Then it's the main theme repeated, and it kinda evolves.
Mm-hmm.
Each time it gets one note more, I think, and so it's at the same time it's always the same thing, but uh, it's you don't get used to it. It's I don't know how to describe it. That's like living horrors,
Mm-hmm.
but every day, so it kind of breaks your mind or something. So it kind of like that. It's how it breaks people. Then there's the breakdown, which is when you're stuck, like you're dying and and you're suffering, and you can't do anything. You're just gonna die there. So it's dissonant and slow,
Mm-hmm.
and then it comes back, and the solo at the end. I tried to make to. to make it feel endless, like Broforce campaign. I try to make it feel endless because well, you don't know when it's gonna end, and probably never. So yeah, don't know if what I try to say works or not, but
Yeah. Cool. I think you did a pretty good job expressing the feelings you were going for, because I was definitely feeling. I don't know if I'd use the word endless, but it was there towards the end. That last part went on for probably like 2 minutes, uh, and it was fast and heavy, and definitely feeling those kind of things that you're talking about. Oh, shush, Pudding, you don't just quiet in the chat. Cool. Any other comments about this, or should I hit play on the next one?
uh, yeah, one last thing. That heavy riff. I'm a bad singer. That riff uses a triton, acid pudding, but the thing, it doesn't sound that dissonant, so it's part of it's the horror, but it's normal. So yeah, don't know if I express myself as good as I wanted. I'm trying.
That's pretty good anyway, whether it's as good as you want it or not. All right, well, let's go ahead and get, what is this, Judges of the Dead going here. I don't remember this track at all, so this will be interesting.
The one with acoustic guitar.
All right. Okay. I didn't take as many notes for that as I did War, but it's an interesting piece. The way it started out and the way it
Hmm?
ended were both the most interesting parts, I thought. Because it starts out, you got the acoustic, well, your synthesized acoustic, uh, so it's not really acoustic, but you've got that playing, and that theme that it's playing uh, is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Curious, I think is the word I'm looking for. It feels curious. I felt like I was looking for something, and then we get back to the end, and you sync up both of the guitar pieces doing the same theme, and it felt like we reached the resolution, like we had found the thing that we were looking for at the beginning. Which I guess, given the title of the track, "Judges of the Dead," that's kind of appropriate. It's like we found our judgment or something, and all the stuff in the middle. I liked how the acoustic kind of kept repeating the same phrase through the whole. Well, I guess it was different in the middle than it was at the beginning and the end. But it was basically like it was playing the same phrase multiple times. So it was like this weird continuity as the drums and the other guitar were just off doing other things and going through different kinds of emotions. Uh, and I wrote down here at the 2 minute mark, oppressive. I don't know why I wrote that down now. Like that momentary feeling passed, but apparently that's how I was feeling at that point in the song, was oppressed.
Uh, the the fun fact is that when I wrote this song, well, the only song I didn't have the idea before making the song. This one, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna make an acoustic song with a harmonized solo at the end. I made it. The chord progression is kind of weird. The the first three chords are classic chord progression, but the last one kind of breaks it. breaks it. And I don't know why I'm saying. So I made this, and then I listened to it, as I always do, and I just felt it like a judgment. So the title came after the song, so I don't know if, it's, if you can feel it or not, but
Okay.
I'm not so not a lot of things to say about this track. So and it, and I didn't took its theme. Pudding is lying. Well, that's all.
All right. Cool deal. I hate to cut this off early before listening to the whole album, but I just got informed that I have to go and take care of some stuff in real life. So we'll have to stop the listening party here. But we should pick this up, next time you can be available on a Sunday and finish listening to this album.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting to get interrupted, but
No, no
real
problem.
real life has a way of doing that. So thanks for being on with me and
It's
sharing,
cool.
your thoughts about this stuff with me. Because I'm not a trained musician. I just kind of make stuff up as I go along. That's why my band's always been like an experimental band as opposed to one that produces actual listenable music.
Yeah.
Oh, Pudding doesn't like it. Also, yeah, I liked how you addressed the, I didn't steal that from Pudding. All right. Well, thank you so much for
Well,
joining me, Pudding. Thanks for being on the stream, hanging out with us here for the last hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever. You guys have a great day, and we'll pick this up next week.
okay. See you next week.
Have a great one. Bye bye.
Thank you.
All right. So let's see. Well, I guess you could if you really wanted to, Pudding, but this is kind of Bryn shindig, so you should probably just chill out over there, man. Or like else. That was a good threat. Okay, so here we are. We've got into the oh god, is it the gates or the depths of hell? I've already forgotten. Into the depths of hell, ready to go. Anything you want to say before we get started here with track 5?
Nope.
All right, then I will hit play. Turn the volume up a little bit. Maybe one more. Okay. I'm not sure I have a lot to say about that track. It was pretty straightforward, and it didn't. What is the? What am I thinking? What's the word I'm trying to come up with? That one is probably the. I guess it's the best way to put it. That one is like the first track on this that gave me the feeling that this would be like a really good soundtrack for kind of a dark and heavy role playing game, like good, like we're down fighting a boss or something. Like that's kind of the feeling I got out of that track, and it's the first one on the album. I think that gave me that feeling because that was the impression I was left with the first time I listened to the album when you put it up on YouTube. However many months ago that was man, this would be good music for like Final Fantasy boss fights, and I think that track is one of the reasons I felt that way because listening to it again, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Well, I don't know what to say, so
Yeah, I don't know. Like
yeah.
that's just how I feel about that. I mean, it's like it's a good track. I enjoyed listening to it, and it makes me feel like I should be fighting some big scary thing.
Okay. Well, I have nothing to say about it, so well, nothing more. So
Okay, well I'll get the next track going then.
yes.
Oh wow, that one was short. I was like grooving along with it over here, uh, and then it just kind of ended, and I wasn't ready for it.
Oh, well, should it have been longer? Or
I don't know. I mean, things ending a little bit early are okay because that leaves people wanting more. And if you leave them wanting more, they're likely to come back and check stuff out to get that fix. You know, next time you release an album, they're like, "Oh man, that track, something like that, it better be on there," or they'll play that track on loop or whatever. Uh,
mm, it's kinda like it. It's hyping the guy who's listening.
mm-hmm.
So well, for this song, I tried to make it with different time signatures. I don't know if you know what is it.
I'm. I know what time signatures are, but I have to admit, listening to it, I didn't really notice.
Well, so that some things that make it some unique in the album. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all, I think. And I'm tired, so I
Yeah, you
probably
definitely are more
forgot
tired.
everything.
You definitely are more tired than you were last time. You're like, just kind of, yeah, there was this song and I made it and moving on now. That's okay. I'm tired too. I should title this like The Tired Stream or something because you're tired, I'm tired. This is the best time to do some music. All right, I'm going to hit play on the next one here. Horrors from the Underworld. Cool. That track, I may have said like Final Fantasy earlier, but that track definitely feels like it just belongs in a Doom stage where I should be just shotgunning demons everywhere. I felt tense. I was on edge the whole time. I loved it. I guess like the only negative comment I would make about that track, because I enjoyed it immensely, is the drums, uh, and it's just they're programmed drums, and it's really badly obvious. At least that's what it sounds like. If that was a live drummer, you need a better drummer, Bren.
I need a better drummer for both recording stuff and making stuff, because I really don't know at all how drums parts are made. So I'm almost making randomly stuff. So yeah, and Yeah, it's not a real drummer, so it's even more obvious that the drums part are weak. Also, we've got a comment on the whole album about what I've learned. Do I say it now or do I wait the end of the stream?
You can say it whenever you want to. This is
I'm
all
gonna
about
say it
your
now.
comments. So,
Well, there's something I saw in this track and in Judges of the Dead. It's that time he used to make to make an entire song with one chord progression. And I don't know if you feel it too, but it's boring.
yeah, I know what you're getting at. I think that's kind of the reason why this track felt like it belonged in a video game, because video game music tends to be a little bit simpler because it doesn't want to distract you too much from the action of what's happening in the video game, but it wants to keep your interest in what's going on at least a little bit. And so it can use, it'll end up using a lot of times simpler progressions or melodies than you might use in other contexts, just because you don't want to overwhelm the player with stimulus. And maybe that's kind of where I'm getting some of the feeling like some of this stuff feels like it belongs in video games, is subconsciously I'm picking up on that, even though consciously I didn't really realize that until you pointed it out.
Okay, so
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. Oh, I got a squeaky chair too. Squeak, squeak.
well, anything else to say? No.
I'm good if you're good.
I'm good.
All right. Well, here we go. Boom. Okay. Uh, I don't think I have a lot to say about that track. It felt very similar to some of the things that we've listened to off this album previously. Uh, the sound palette was basically the same. I don't know if your chord progressions were exactly the same, but they sounded pretty similar. I'm pretty sure I've heard some of the things you were playing in previous tracks off the album. The drums that were laid down felt very similar to drums on previous tracks. Don't tell me that the album's like falling off. We're only halfway through this thing, man. It can't get redundant on me yet.
Well, in fact, I consider each river song at one entire song. So
Ah.
it's more like I have a template and I made songs with it. So that's why all songs are in F. I don't know if I don't know how it works in the USA, like A B C D E F G.
Yeah, we have keys.
Keys, okay, so it's in F. The structure is the same. There's a riff that is repeated. It is the same for each river song. And
Okay.
I picked out some common drum parts. So yeah, they're more or less the same track.
Then, okay, so that explains what I was hearing. That also kind of makes for an interesting structure because, like, if you treated the album as one big piece of music, then that would be like the bridge that links different parts together, that's repeating phrases that are similar to phrases that have been heard before, providing uh, like a backbone that you can layer not layer, but use to anchor the different other pieces together with.
Yeah, it's some kind of a chorus in the whole album, or a bridge, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, and in that song, I stole a riff from my old fastest band. So yeah, it's just I'm a thief.
Well, that's okay. As long as nobody finds out, and as long as nobody watches this, no one will ever know.
Nobody will. So
Well, I don't know. We got 5 viewers right now, so there's 2 people that aren't you, me, and Pudding watching this. Oh, we're up to 6 now. It just ticked up. So people are watching. People are tuning in. All right, man. I'm gonna get the next song going here.
okay.
There was a couple of times there in that track. I think the first one I noticed was somewhere around the 2 minute mark, where I thought things were going to change much more dramatically than they did. It was like we were in this down tempo thing, and every time I felt like the music was going to let me look upwards, there was something big and heavy that smashed me back down. And then there were two or three times in there where the music either stopped or it started to change, and I thought it was going to pick up the tempo, or uh, the melody was going to like kick in and rise up and overcome the other sounds or something, and then it just didn't happen. And it was actually kind of frustrating to listen to from that regard. But then there was that moment uh, somewhere like 4:30 or so where it just really felt like, oh, I see what's going on here. And you're going to laugh because I'm about to make a video game comment. It felt like I was getting ready, like it was the last boss of a Final Fantasy game. Like we were at Kefka's Tower, and all this stuff leading up to that moment was just kind of like the look how badass I am from the last boss. You know, there's Sephiroth, and then boom, the wings unfurl. It's at the 4:30 mark, and the fight's actually on, and we're going to get our asses kicked because he's going to like blow up the universe or something. And it was awesome. And that's my comments.
Well, I'm really glad you took the example of Kefka's Tower, because the main inspiration for this song was Dancing Mad, which is the theme of Final Fantasy VI final boss.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and for this song, I tried to break a lot of music rules. Like there are tempo changes everywhere. Most of the, for example, in most of music, a theme is repeated in like 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, or it's kind of binary. But for this, I tried to break it. So it's maybe why you had this this feeling that you are frustrated of something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my favorite song of the album. And I have something else to say, but I forgot it.
I think you're right about the breaking of music rules, building frustration. It's like if you start doing a tritone and you don't play the last part of it, uh, the tension just kind of keeps building, and it's a discomforting experience for the listener. So I think that's kind of like you said, you know, if you were looking to break rules and it worked, and it made me, the person who's naively listening to this, feel uncomfortable about it. And that's actually kind of a cool thing because a lot of musicians never really, what's the right word, challenge their audience in that way, you know, especially I guess more mainstream artists. I mean, like, okay, if we're talking jazz or something, they can go jump off a bridge because most jazz music these days I can't listen to because it's just like, oh yes, I have to listen to the notes you're not playing. Too bad I'm not versed enough in music theory to understand that. But then you have the flip side, you know, mainstream pop music, or even a lot of heavy metal artists, and they stick exactly to, you know, this is how we structure the song. We're going to play at this one tempo, except for this part here where we have a breakdown or something, and everything just kind of changes for a little bit, but then we kick back into the familiar before it can become unsettling for the listener. And you mixed it up. You unsettled me. That's not easy to do.
So I think I managed to do my work. So
Yeah, definitely.
um, so I didn't ask you before, but that's not really a question about this song in particular, but do you have a favorite song in the album? Or
Uh, so far, I think either Judges the Dead, because I liked how it felt like we were on some kind of uh, journey through it, or the one we've just listened to. I can't remember the rest of the album because it's been, what, like 2 months or something since you put it on YouTube and I actually listened to the whole thing all in one go. So right now I don't have a favorite. Ask me when we get done with this thing and I'll give you a better answer.
okay,
And I see Pudding's comment, there are no rules when you already play without them. You sound like you want to do experimental music, Pudding. You would have fit in my band back when we were still together. All
yeah,
right. Anything else, or can I hit play?
no, it's okay. Go
All
ahead.
right. Let's rock another one of these river songs. So listening to that with an eye towards what you said about those songs, uh, I definitely hear the similarities now that I'm actually conscious of some of the things I'm looking for to the previous River songs, especially in the not your lead guitar playing all the high stuff, but the other guitar that's just like strumming through all these big heavy notes. Like I'm really hearing the other, I'm just going to call them River songs, uh, in that particular part of the music.
Well, that's good, I
Yeah,
guess. Um,
that's what you said I should be hearing. I didn't really notice if the other pieces were had similar progressions and were calling back to the other ones, because that was just so noticeable. Once I was looking for it, it was like the thing that I could hear the most because it was slower pace and it was just heavy and like I'm going to use that word again. I've used at least 3 times describing this album where it was just like oppressive, which I kind of like given the theme of the music.
Um, well, I don't know what to say, so
Do we
yeah, I
need to
just said
stop here so you can take a nap? I mean,
no, 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 it's okay. Well, it's just that we've already talked about River Song, so
mm-hmm. Yeah, I
once we
guess
said it, no need to say it again.
yep. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit play on the next song, which is Six Circles. Let's do it. Boom. Okay, you asked me earlier what was my favorite song on the album, and I think that one just won. Unless like the next couple of songs before we get to the end are even more fantastic. I think that was my favorite.
Oh, um, why?
It gave me a wonderful sense of place. Like I could feel I was somewhere. Like I've said these words before. You know what I'm going to say. I felt like I was somewhere, and it was an unhappy place, and it kept progressing. I wasn't paying attention enough to notice if six circles was actually broke up into six thematically slightly different pieces, or like you played through like six different I don't know what to call it, like verses or whatever. But I definitely felt like we started in one place over here somewhere, and you can't see my hands, but pretend I'm gesturing on one side, and the song played, and it went through a couple different stages, and then we ended up somewhere else, and that somewhere else was just as bad as the place we started because we're in a very bad place, and it doesn't matter where you go, it's all suffering, and uh, this is a funny phrase to use in the context of heavy metal type music, uh, but it left me with a quiet feeling of uncertainty and dread. Like that's like down in my gut. There was like this feeling of, oh, this isn't right. And the song just kept going, and I just kind of kept feeling kind of down like that. And it never really let up, but I had a lot of fun anyway. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. I had fun with your music making me feel unhappy.
Well, the the song is indeed divided in six parts. Like it is like hatred, impotence, ignorance is in three movements. So yeah, it's kind of like this. There are six circles. I represent a circle with a riff and a solo. And when you ended a circle, you just go to another, and it's not a louder, but the contrary. I just don't know the word. So if you listen to the first circle and the last one, you'll notice that the first one is really, it's deeper. It's deeper, not loud. Sorry. And yeah, it's a progression, but it's still the same unhappy place as you said.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I'm just saying that, hey, what you said is good. So, well, that's it.
Gotcha. All right, we are getting close to the end of this album, aren't we? Let's see, this track, and then two more, and then the bonus track. So I guess I'll get cracking here on the one with many names.
Indeed.
Wow, I have my mic on Discord muted because I didn't want my chair squeaking, and now nobody heard everything I just said, Bren.
Mm,
I'm a
I
professional.
just I just heard what you said.
You heard it, but like nobody else watching this did. Uh, wow, I was really getting into it. I was like deep into this explanation, and now I don't know where I was. Okay, let me try to start over. So yeah, it was the theme of Satan, and so like uh, I could tell like from the name, like that was my guess is what it was going to be, and then the piece itself when it started playing, it felt like a character theme from a video game or a movie or something. The phrases repeated a lot, and you should confirm or deny whether or not the repeated phrases like mutated as time went on, because I would swear there were times when you were playing that. Uh, God, I would mimic the sound, except I would get all the notes wrong, so I'm not going to bother. But you were playing, you know the phrase I'm talking about, because you kept playing it over and over. And sometimes it would end on a different note than other times. And I don't know if there was a pattern to that, or if it was meant to not have a pattern. Uh, but it kept me intrigued through the whole thing, and I just happened to be like, oh, the song ended. Crap. Let me hit stop before we start playing the next song, because I was like into it. I was like grooving, my head was nodding. The visualization like had me in trance, because it was one of the earlier parts of the visualization was like this thing that had like arms and legs and like things that were like doing crazy shapes off of those, and I don't even know, man. I liked it, and I'm rambling.
Well, the song is indeed about the devil, or how you want to call it, because he has many names.
Yep.
And uh, I wanted I wanted to make a song not like a metal song, because uh, we've seen the devil in music, especially in heavy metal and all that stuff, but that's not the first time, because the there was there were a lot of devil references in blues jazz music, and so I made the song. Uh, I made it over a blues chord progression. Yeah, there are the how can I say it? When you say there are there's a theme which is mutating, and well, you're right. Um, in fact, it's just that there are multiple themes that are almost the same, but not quite exactly, and they are repeated in not really a random order, but almost. So yeah, that's how we. It's why you felt this,
Mm-hmm.
and the ending uh, was Well, uh, you weren't prepared for this. Like it's the end, and
Yeah, it felt
you.
kind of abrupt to me. I mean, I was jamming along, and then it was just kind of like, oh, we're ending, and we were done.
So yes, that's. That's. I'm just too tired to speak and make correct sentences.
All right,
That's
well,
it.
I won't leave you hanging there on the hook. I'm just going to hit play on the next song, and we'll listen to Styx here. Well, they'll listen to Styx, and I'll listen to Styx. You'll just have like dead silence to listen to, which isn't really good, but oh well.
Mm, well, it's another river song, so nothing more to say. Mm. No,
And I'm muted again. Because I like to hit mute, Pudding. It's all about you. You know, indeed and perhaps. And I like to say I hate the game. I'm just trolling you at this point, man, because I know you hate it. Yeah. Anyway, he didn't miss anything because all we were saying was there's not anything to say about this song. So
so
I'm gonna just go on to what's this? Breathless Sleep. All right, let's hit it. And just for you, Pudding, I won't mute my mic at all. So if I cough or something, it's your fault. Okay? Oh, I gotta turn this up. Piano's kind of soft. Okay, that was really short, and I'm not muted this time, Pudding. Just so you know, in case you can't hear me. Um, I'll be honest. That was a good way to end the album. That's kind of like it's a good like outro. It's a good epilogue to everything we've been through. And I don't really know what else to say about it. I mean, I was listening to it. I was trying to listen for things I've heard in previous songs, but the change in instrument, uh, I'm not good at picking out notes. Like I said, I've never been trained as a musician. I just kind of flail around and do what my bandmates tell me to do. But I didn't really hear a lot that was pulled from other things to try to wrap stuff up. But despite that kind of being down in volume, it was a softer track than the others. And the change of instrument to that piano was a very nice way to kind of gently relieve the tension of the previous, 13 tracks and relax our way out. Now we do still have the bonus track to go, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But I'm going to shut up and let you talk now, because you actually know what you're talking about.
well, the entire album is like I'm gonna paint a place with a song, except so the first one and the last one. So the first one is Beyond Death, which is which explains what, which says, "Hey, look, this is what happened beyond death." And then there's Breathless Sleep, so it's death, and it's more like that. It's kind of like Dante's Inferno. There's a soul which is visiting every place it is, and at the end it finally, how to say it? It's like it can rest now. You know, it ends.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I guess I've nothing more to say.
Okay. I was putting you on the spot there. I'm like, I'm just gonna stay silent and see what he says. But yeah, I think I understand exactly what you're saying, and it's kind of like what I was saying in a different way. Like it was a good way thematically to get rid of like the tension. You said, she can finally rest. Uh, Same thing as like what I was saying. The tension. Like we've come down off of all this heavy, just like guitars and drums crushing our souls, and then we get to this piano piece, and it's like, yes, we've made it. We're through. Like if this was classical uh, Greek, Hades, we made it to the Elysian fields at that point. Or, if we go to Dante's Inferno, we've made it through and now we're chilling out in purgatory and we can catch our breath because we no longer are, watching people like eat each other's skulls, or like we're not watching Judas get raked over the devil's teeth or whatever. It's like, okay, we're finally free. Let's catch our breath. Or I guess this is called breathless sleep. Let's just pass out, black out, and hallucinate for a few hours. Either way.
Hmm. Yeah,
Also,
indeed.
I'm totally gonna like have to like talk about the what looks like some trouble in the chat there. Pudding says that you totally ripped his chords for that one, and he's telling you not to lie about it. So now I'm putting you on the spot.
The truth is, I wanted to do it, but I decided not to do it because, well, the Pudding made a song called "The Fight with the Demon Yet to Come," and I really like this song. So I first wanted to steal this chord progression, but I can send you the MIDI files. And you can compare. I didn't steal that chord progression. He's lying.
All right. And he says, so you were lying after all, but not what I thought about. Well, I think we put this controversy to bed. And I guess, when I listen to his album, he can rant about that and be like, oh yeah, he's still lying. But, controversy is good for views and stuff like that. So, there we go. Also, pro tip, since you're doing music, never say you stole something unless your lawyer tells you to. Always say, at best, that you were inspired by something that you heard. I don't know what that is in French, but in English, yes. Oh, I was inspired by a piece of music that I heard.
Yeah, it's possible to say it in French.
All right, let's get the bonus track going here. So I do have to ask one thing before I hit play on this. Why a bonus track? Why isn't it just worked into the album somewhere else before we get to, Breathless Sleep? I listened to this one time because you said, oh, be sure to listen to the bonus track, and I don't remember anything about it. So that's why I'm asking the question of, why do we have a bonus track?
I made the track, which is about some private jokes, and I made it after releasing the album. So it's not at all about hair or anything. It's just that I wanted to release this track, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna say it's a bonus track. That's it.
Okay. Well, let me hit play and we'll all listen to this thing. P.S. Pudding, I'm not muted. So yeah, that thematically doesn't fit with anything else on the album. So I definitely see why it's a bonus track. Um, you'll have to elaborate. Like you said, this is based on like some private jokes or something, and you have to elaborate on that because what were the private jokes? Like I'm listening to this thing. I'm like trying to listen for something that's incongruous or just doesn't fit, and I'm not really picking it up, and maybe it's subtle and going over my head. Uh, so yeah, what were the jokes?
Well, it's um, a really long story, so I'm gonna shorten it a little. So that's like we mm, that's hard to say it. Mm, it we it's like we created uh, no, it's not create. Ah,
If you want, you can tell it in French, and I'll pretend that I understood what you said.
cool. En fait, c'est très simple. Ça parle un petit peu de la création de l'univers, de tout ce qui se passe, et puis après, comment ça se finit. Is it better?
Well, I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me now. I understand completely what you're going for there, and I agree.
Really?
No, I don't speak French. I have no idea what you said, but somebody out there does, and they will let me know what you said eventually. Like it may be years from now, and I'll be confused as to why somebody told me about some song named Head Sound by you. But one day I'll find out. Uh, I think my only other comment on this track is, and you're gonna laugh because it's a video game thing. There was a part, I think it was about 4 minutes in, and you had like a synthesizer playing like a string part, and it was just like playing two notes back and forth, and it for whatever reason made me think of some of the later areas in the first Doom, or even most of the music in Doom 2, where it's just kind of like there's this atmospheric sense of danger, and there's other bits of music doing other things, but that's the one that's imparting most of the emotion. And that section only lasted like 30 seconds, but that was the thing that left the biggest impression on me, was that one part.
Mm. Which part is it?
It was like 4 minutes into the song. Hold on. I have the power and technology. I can actually hit play here and look it up. Yeah. So like at
I
right at four
can't.
minutes.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, that was very stressful to listen to. That was like that kind of music always is. It's a good way to set people on edge, and that's what stuck out the most to me was that little piece there, and it didn't even last all that long.
Well, the song is divided in many parts. So it
Yeah, I noticed
started.
that. Yeah.
So it's the creation of the universe to the end of it, and well, which is not really the end, but and so that part is more likely a dramatic part. Don't really know how to explain it because that's really some. I don't know.
But I think just saying it's like the dramatic part of the story is all you really have to
Yeah.
say there, because yeah, that's exactly what that feels like, is the dramatic part of the story. There's some kind of danger or tension that we have to resolve, and then that part stops and the tension gets resolved by the rest of the song. So yeah, you got it. Uh, do you have any concluding thoughts or any thing you want to say about the album or any of the tracks we've listened to today or the last time?
Mm, no.
All right.
No, seriously, I would say uh, it's not really. Not, I don't really consider it as an album, but more likely I'm just training to make stuff. Because if I if I if I wanted to really make a real album, I'd made I'd record myself playing guitar, and it's just like I want to compose. I don't know if the word exists, but it's all about making music itself, not how how good the sound is or anything. So yeah. And do you have anything to say about the album?
Just a few concluding thoughts. Uh, I enjoyed listening to the album both times. I've listened to the whole thing. Some parts of it, I think, bespeak a future as for you as someone who writes music for other media, television or movies or video games or whatever, because you're kind of nailing the style of, yeah, this is some interesting music in the background, and you can pair it with the images and feelings that you want to. Not every musician can do that. Some people can create very catchy, hooks or write beautiful lyrics or whatever. You're doing a good job of painting scenes and moods with sound, which is a very difficult thing to do. And I think if you wanted to attempt doing that, maybe not professionally at first, because you got to get started somewhere, but doing it semi-professionally, finding artists near where you live making independent films or something, and providing scores for that, uh, you might you might make some good progress there and do some good work. Otherwise, I'm going to say the kind of thing I say to everybody I talk to that's a musician. It's like, keep making music, keep improving your craft, keep being creative, and most importantly, don't go back and revisit things you've already done until you're much, much better at what you do, and then you can go back and redo old stuff. But otherwise, you're just going to get stuck working on the same thing over and over, like my friend that likes to make video games. He's been working on the same RPG for like 10 years because he keeps redesigning it from the ground up. And I keep telling him, no, just get it done and then move on to a new RPG. And now you have something that's actually finished that you can show people of, yes, I did this cool work. Don't come back and revisit this until you've put out some other stuff and you've done other cool things.
Mm, does it apply to Brofus campaign too?
Uh, you keep expanding that a little bit. It's not like you're remaking the same 10 stages over and over. You keep just adding more and more to it. But at some point, you probably should stop and be like, this is a completed product. I'm going to move on with my life and work on something new.
I'm almost done with it. Well,
Good. I look
I
forward to playing
know
it.
what I know what's the final thing. This is gonna be the next time you'll play it, and this is gonna be the last time. So
Awesome. I look forward to it. Pudding wants me to tell you that he's an immature twat. I don't really like saying that last word, especially on stream, but he did want me to tell you that.
well, I can read the chat. So why
Yeah,
does he want?
I don't know,
No,
man. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me these last 2 weeks and for sharing this. I'm going to upload the two parts of the listening party onto my channel. They'll probably be like for Halloween or something, since it's kind of a dark theme and it fits for that. Uh, So I'll have like a link to your channel and all that good stuff down in there. I'll shoot out a tweet and here in a minute with a link to your channel to this album, and also like on Facebook when I make my little "oh, we had a great stream" post, I'll be sure to drop a link there too, just in case we can get some random people directed over to listen to this thing on your channel directly.
That's cool. Thank you.
All right. Well, have a great day, sir. Pudding, you have a great day, and the other one person who's watching this, you also have a great day. I'll see you guys. Well, I'll probably stream again next Sunday at the same time. I want to stream at some other point during the week, but my schedule for work is so hectic lately that I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.
See ya.